In March 2013, I was in the field in Wainwright, Alberta. So we were on an exercise. I was doing military training. I started having blood coming out of me. Fast forward in early 2015, I started getting extreme amounts of more blood. In March 2015, it got ridiculously bad. I started dropping weight like mad. Long and short of it, come late August, early September 2015, I spent I don't know how many days in the hospital. They had me on IV steroids because no medications were working. I was just weak. Your life is coming out of you. So I actually wanted, I was like, man, just if this ain't getting sorted out, I just want to die. You are dying. Anyways, I had to have emergency surgery to have my colon taken out. So after all of that, I lost my colon. I now have a J pouch, and I need control of all my timings. So that doesn't fly in the Army. It won't work.
So at the moment, we are currently living in the city. So middle of winter, tons and tons of snow, really cold, family of 5, 3 people, 2 cats, moving into a travel trailer. No running water, no toilet. Electricity only run when we turned on our generator, which we had to, go get gas, pour it in, plug it in, turn it on, and then we could have a little bit of electricity, which provided our heat and stuff as well. So yeah, that was different.
And then we jumped into the homesteaders. We're like, oh, we got to do something.
Completely different lifestyle that we weren't used to. We were used to having everything at our fingertips because that's kind of what we always had, was like, you want anything, it's just there. You got like your electricity, you got your running water, you want to have a hot shower, you want to have a hot bath, you want to turn on the TV, whatever you want to do, I mean, you could do, and you wouldn't even have to think about it. You just do it. So yeah, we left that life and started a brand new journey. And to be honest, it wasn't a journey that we had ever thought we would be on. It wasn't something like a dream of ours to homestead. That was never something we thought about, never something we talked about. So we thought if we could find a cheap piece of land, build a house on it, one step at a time, using our own money instead of borrowing money, so we wouldn't have a mortgage over our head to worry about paying, and make sure that the house was self-sustaining. So having a well so we don't have to pay for water, having a septic so we don't have to pay for the sewer system, having a piece of land that's got cheap taxes, not only a cheap piece of land, but cheap property taxes. So that's kind of why we're out in the middle of nowhere. So it's got cheap property taxes that you have to pay every year. Having our own source of heat, which is our wood burning stove, and we bought 70 acres of land, so we have tons of trees to provide for our heat. And then electricity. If we have solar panels, they'll provide solar power, which we'll have to learn how to live with just whatever it is that we have enough power for. And yeah, so that gets rid of all those bills and a mortgage. So really you have your food that you have to worry about, your insurance for your vehicle and your gas and stuff like that. So, those are things that we obviously need and can't really get rid of. And Jeremy hunts, so that helps with the grocery bills, bringing that down. But so anyways, that's how we kind of got on the whole homesteading journey. We had been thinking, like I said, what do we do now? And homesteading seemed like a pretty, good option and something that would be worth trying. So that's why we chose that option. But when we moved to our property, not only were we a young couple with a young child coming from having everything at our fingertips to now having nothing unless we go and get it ourselves, but we were dealing with a lot of emotional trauma. So if anybody who loses a job that you like, it's not easy. Anyone who's lost their health, It's not easy. So not only did he lose his health, but prior to losing his health, he was very active, very physically fit, very into sports. And then that was taken away from him. And then within maybe 2 or 3 years at the most, his career, which wasn't just a job, it was his career. It was his way of providing for our family. It was something that he loved. It was something that he excelled in. You know, he wanted to serve his country. He wanted to do everything that the military required him to do. He was willing to go above and beyond, and he excelled in that career. And he lost that too. So, you know, it's one thing if you don't care about your job and then you lost it and you're like, oh, phew. Well, that wasn't the case here. Or your health, you never really did much of anything anyway, and then you lost something that didn't really matter to you anyways. He lost 2 things that were very, very important to him in a very short period of time.
So people that aren't kind of understanding what we're dealing with and why our decisions are what they are and whatever, like brand new change from being in the Army to now being there and then figuring out my body, what the heck I can actually do. That's all part of it, right?
And then right when all that happens, we're being just kind of like thrown into a whole new lifestyle. And we're going through it together. So both of us are bearing this huge emotional burden that we're trying to deal with. We're trying to process. We're trying to figure out, what do we do with this? How do we deal with this? What do we do from here? Learning the things that Jeremy can eat, can't eat. Things that Jeremy can do, can't do.
Because I can still do things for the most part. I mean, I get fatigued sometimes, but usually I'm pretty good. Like I can do things on my own thing because I'm in control of where I go, what I do. Like I'm like, oh, I gotta go there, I can take this, do that. Like there's different things, you know, all involved in that. So homesteading gave us control of ourselves as much as possible, right? So that's why, because we need our own kind of deal, right?
Things like that are also a part of losing your health. Worrying about finances and stuff from your career coming to an end way sooner than you ever expected or wanted it to. So we're dealing with all that sort of stuff. And not only that, right when we had been trying for like a year to have another child, and we finally got pregnant and we were so excited. And then right when we moved to New Brunswick, right at that same time during our travels, we started losing the baby, and that was so stressful. And we're in the middle of moving. It was literally, we were at a hotel like in the middle of moving, and we still had 4 more days of traveling from Ontario, or 3 more days of Ontario to New Brunswick. And I was in the hospital, and I spent an entire day in the hospital, and then was told as soon as I get to New Brunswick I need to get back into the emergency right away. And we're driving with 2 cats that are just not wanting to be in the vehicle, a 3-year-old not wanting to be in the vehicle, and me dealing with, I don't understand what's going on with my body, I don't have a clue. People in the hospitals telling me, drive there as quick as you can and get back to a hospital, and make sure you know where every hospital is along your way in case there's an emergency and you need to end up there. So it was very, very traumatic. And as soon as we landed in New Brunswick, right to the emergency I went and spent the day there. And then within, I think, a week and a half, we ended up losing the baby. And, you know, right when we're just in this huge transition of everything so different. And anyway, we got over that. We dealt with that. Took a while, that's for sure. But as soon as the snow melted, we started building our house, and we did, I think, a pretty decent job, and we worked together well. But that was another challenge, learning to work together on such a huge project, as well as be a parent during that time, because we had Sam with us. And I mean, for the majority of it, it was just the 2 of us. We had his dad come a couple times to help, maybe 3 times, and one of his friends came, I think, twice to help do a few things, and that was really appreciated. But the majority of the house build was just the 2 of us, while trying to be a parent to Sam, while going to collect our water, while having to drive an hour and a half away if we wanted to go get any amount of groceries or stuff for the house, materials, because the next city was over an hour, between an hour and a half away. So it was very different. It was emotionally a very traumatic time we were going through, as well as learning, like I said, this brand new lifestyle. So the house was finally done.
We can't stay here any longer. So we were looking for a halfway point. You knew that if you've been here any length of time. In the beginning, January 2020, we were going to sell the place. And then we decided, well, we'll just put the camper on a lot, campground. We did that. The campground, we can only be there 4.5 months of the year. So another thing we came up with, and we said this also last year, and then I just said in the last videos that we're looking for land. But looking for land, and you know, with the price of wood and all that, what we were going to do is just build another cabin. But with all that going on right now, trying to find land for another halfway point, I mean, that's just, I think, going to just be too much. So it's hard to say this, but we sold our homestead. Again, the reasons for why having to do this, various reasons why, but we absolutely, the number one reason is that we got to be closer for doctor's appointments. Things like that, Sam, for homeschool networks, different things like that, for our family going forward. We just have to. We're like 2 hours outside of getting into doctor's appointments, things like that. Unfortunately, I got to go there pretty regular. And not on top of that, just the rest of the family too, right? And then Sam, though, for being closer for friends and all that. Anyways, that's just the gist of what's happening. So we kind of got to do what we got to do for our family. We live basically way out in the woods. Where we're looking, it's actually still in the woods, but it's more in the farm country and way closer. We'll be much, much closer. We'll at least cut our time in half of how far away we are and still own a bunch of land, still be able to do a proper homestead and all that stuff.
Grabbing all our last few things. Tomorrow's the last day. Enjoying the evening as we pack up.
We're having our last bonfire on the property tonight. Pretty fun.
Yep.
All right, so it's empty. Ready for the new owners. Seems weird. 3.5 years ago, there was absolutely nothing on this land, just raw land. Now it has a beautiful home. All these outbuildings. Bye-bye. Bye-bye for the last time. We're gonna close the gate for one final time. We say goodbye. On to the next chapter of our lives. Okay, we're here at the new house. How exciting.
Oh man, this is cool.
So cool. This is finally ours.
Yeah, we're gonna
This is probably gonna be the best day of my life.
Yeah. Welcome home.
Nice.
Yay! This is our view in the backyard.
Love it.
Beautiful. So in this bag is the ownership for this big piece of land you see behind me that we just purchased. So on to the fun, big news. This is our new piece of property and we're really excited to share it with you. It's another large acreage. We really wanted another large acreage after buying that farmhouse. So pretty much for this channel from going forward, everything on this channel is going to be done here at this acreage. This is going to be our off-grid cabin that we're going to build here. We're going to keep it completely off-grid. Watch us start all over from from the ground up and
Yeah.
build another place.
Yeah, this time in a totally better situation.
Yeah.
So I come in here. Here. Sounds like I'm in like a basement hall.
Yeah.
So we sold the truck, boat, and side-by-side to be able to buy that land. So now while we build that, we'll live in this farmhouse while we build a complete off-grid homestead from the ground up, all over again in the perfect location. And it's just perfect that it all worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
So having said that, on the YouTube thing, we made it to 100,000 subscribers. And it's a really big deal that we were able to get there, because honestly, we probably should have been there 6 to 8 months ago, because we deleted, like, this has been such a crazy journey for us. Like, you have no idea behind the scenes, like, some of the stuff that has gone on. And we've actually deleted almost half the channel last year.
Yeah. It was like 250 videos or something.
Yeah, so, and that basically killed the growth of the channel.
Yeah.
So, so on that, the point is what we're going to say is, like, thank everybody who was still watching.
Yeah.
And kept coming back, push
Stuck
the
it out
play.
with us.
So thanks everybody for continuing to push play, even though we basically killed it ourselves. YouTube didn't kill it for us, we did it. So, because I'm crazy. But thanks for continuing to push play. And now we got here, and now we have a bunch of new people here.
Yeah.
And that's great. And it's awesome to have everybody along for the ride, because it is keeping it real on this channel. You're getting the real deal here. It's not a fluff stuff.
Yeah.
You know? She says we're done. So.
So thanks again to all 100,000 plus of you.
This is the greatest night in the history of my life. Yo, Adrian!